Hi guys, this is Mrs. Martin, and I am redoing the math video lesson for the week of April 20th through the 24th because the first link that we sent you did not work. So I'm going to recreate that video for you now. So last week for math, you were practicing addition with regrouping, and this week for math, we're going to be practicing subtraction with regrouping. So this is a skill that you have probably gone over with your teachers this year already, but we wanted to make sure that we touched on it again before the end of the school year because this is a skill you're going to be using a lot in third grade, and we want to make sure that you remember how to do it, and maybe this, by doing it with distance learning, you can do it with your parents, and they can also see how important it is for you to practice it, and hopefully you'll continue to practice this over the summer. So we're going to start with just regrouping, the basic concept of regrouping. Also, when I say regrouping, that means that I'm taking a value of a number, like tens. I'm going to regroup the tens as ones. In addition, you would be regrouping the ones as tens, but in subtraction, we're going to be taking the tens place or the hundreds place, and we're going to be regrouping that down into ones or tens. And your parents may call it borrowing or subtraction, which is actually, it's the same thing. Regrouping is the same thing as borrowing. So when you're borrowing a 10 or you're borrowing 100 to be able to do the subtraction, that is the same thing as regrouping, just so you know. All right, so on the screen right now, I have a number 83, the number 83 in a place value chart. I have the 8 in the tens place because there's 8 groups of 10 in that number, and I have the 3 in the ones place because there's 3 ones. So on this example, we're just going to show regrouping to explain how that works. So in subtraction, we're going to be going to the bigger place, which is going to be tens on this chart. We need to take a 10 and we need to break it apart or regroup it back down to ones so that we're able to subtract. So first thing I'm going to do is just draw a model of this number, which when you're doing subtraction, drawing models of the numbers is probably one of the best ways to make sure that you're doing it correctly and make sure you're not leaving out any steps. So if you have paper or chalk and a sidewalk or a whiteboard at home, anything like that where you can draw out these problems, it will really help you make sure that you're doing the subtraction correctly. So on this, we're just doing regrouping. So we have the number 83, and what I want to do is I want to regroup one of these tens as ones, and so that's going to change the way that the value of the number, the way that it's set up. So it's not going to actually change the value of the number, but it's going to change how the number is set up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw it the way that it is right now. So this would be 8 tens, so I'm going to get a pencil over here. This is 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens. Remember, you can draw 10 as just a long, skinny rod, or you can just draw a line. That also represents a 10. It doesn't have to be a super fancy picture, okay? And then the ones are usually, the units for ones are usually small squares. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 80 here, 81, 82, 83. So now I have made a visual model of this number. So what we're going to do is we're going to regroup one of these tens. So I'm going to take one of these tens, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of my pencil here. And this whiteboard that I'm using on the computer is called AWAPP, A-W-W-A-P-P. It is a free program online, so it's a great way if you don't have a whiteboard at home and you want to use something like this, you can totally do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to regroup one of these tens. So I'm going to cross out the 10 that I'm going to regroup. And all I'm going to do is break that up into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you know what? I kind of made an extra one over here. I always like to draw mine. Oops. I'm going to find the eraser. I always like to draw my ones in groups of 5 so that they're very easy to count. If you draw them in groups of 5, then you know, okay, here's 5, here's 10. You can skip count by 5 very easily, so drawing in groups of 5 helps out a lot. All right, so now we have changed this number in our visual model, so we also need to change the number on the place value mat. How many 10s do we have now? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we only have 7, so I'm going to cross out this 8 and I'm going to change it to a 7 because there are only 7 10s now. And how many 1s do we have now? We have 3 plus 10, so that equals 13. So I'm going to cross out the 3 and I'm going to change it. This is a very important step in subtraction with regrouping. If you don't cross these out and change how you have changed them to be able to do the subtraction, then you are going to mess up somewhere. So you have to make sure that you cross out the 10s and the 1s, and you have to make sure that you write what you changed them to. Now, did we change the actual value of this number? Let's find out and see. Let's go ahead and count it. We have 10, 20, 30. Let me get a different pointer here so you can really see. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. This one isn't here anymore. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. So no, we have not changed the value of this number. The number still has a value of 83, but instead of saying 8 10s and 3 1s, the number now says 7 10s and 13 1s. So all we did is regroup a 10 to give us more 1s to work with, and that way if we were doing a subtraction problem, it would give us a way to be able to do subtraction without having to move numbers around. All right, so that's regrouping, and that's an important concept. So the important things to remember are you need to make sure that when you change these numbers, that you change them, you mark them out, and you write what the new what you've changed them to. Okay. All right, now we're going to go ahead and just solve two word problems. The first word problem has 2-digit numbers. So we're going to do that together really quickly, and then we're going to do one with 3-digit numbers as well. So the first thing we're going to do is just read the problem, and we're going to use cubes, which is one of our problem-solving strategies, to work through the problem, make sure that we are doing it, we get it, looking at all the parts correctly before we solve. So cubes is C-U-B-E-S, and the first letter in cubes is circle the numbers. The second letter is U, which means underline the question. The third letter is B, and we're going to put blocks or boxes around any important words or keywords. And then we're going to E, evaluate and prepare to solve, and S means we're going to actually solve the problem. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is read the problem, and we're going to apply C, we're going to circle. So this says 45 kids got on the bus at school. 17 got out at their stops. How many kids are left on the bus? Okay, so first we're going to circle. So we have 45, circle all the numbers, and we have a 17. Okay, 45 and 17. Then we're going to box any important information. So this is important. 45 got on the bus, okay, because that's the number we started with. And over here, 17 got out, okay. Where it says here got out, that's kind of giving us an indication that this is going to be a subtraction problem. And then, oh, we also need to underline, underline the question. How many kids are left on the bus? That's what we're ultimately trying to find out. So we've circled the numbers, we've underlined the question, and we've put boxes around important keywords that will help us solve. Now we need to evaluate and figure out how we're going to solve this. So the first thing we're going to do is set this up as a horizontal algorithm to prepare for it to solve. Okay? When we are setting up a subtraction problem, which number goes first? Are we going to put the big number first, or are we going to put the small number first when we're writing a subtraction problem? We're going to put the big number first, or the larger number. That's always going to go first in subtraction. In addition, it doesn't matter. In addition, you can put the numbers in any order, but in subtraction, you have to put the larger number first. So 45 is larger than 17, so I'm going to go ahead and write 45 on top, and I'm going to write 17 on the bottom, because it's 45 minus 17, and that's how we're going to set this problem up. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and model the number we're going to be subtracting from. The number we're going to be subtracting from is the larger number, and that's 45. When we're doing subtraction, you only have to model one number. because you're going to be taking things away, so you don't have to add anything to it. So we're just going to model one number, and then we're going to work with that model. So I need to model 45. 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. And this time, as you can see, I just drew a line. That's all you have to do. And then I need 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have 4 tens and 5 ones. That's what this number has, 4 tens and 5 ones. Now I need to do my subtraction. So now that I have the model number written and then I have the model drawn all in the same color, since we're going to start a subtraction, I'm going to change colors just so you can see that happening. Okay, and since subtraction is taking away, I'm going to use red to show that we're taking something away. So we have 45 minus 17. We're always going to start in the ones place when we're doing subtraction. So we're going to start in the ones place first. Okay, so we have 5 ones, but we need to take away 7 ones. Are we able to take out 7 ones right now the way the problem is set up right now? No, we're not able to do that because if I only have 5, I can't take 7 away. I don't have enough. Okay, and this is why we have to regroup. So we're going to regroup or borrow. We're going to borrow from the tens place. So I'm going to show my regrouping here, and I'm going to do, I'm just going to show the regrouping right now with the red. So I'm going to cross out a 10, and I'm going to move it over here to the ones place. So I'm going to have to break it apart into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I took this 10 right here, and I moved it over here. Okay, and so that's all I did. Now, another important thing to remember is I didn't just add to what I already had because I had 5 here. If I only added to what I had to make 10, I would not have enough ones over here. So it's very important that if you regroup a 10, and you're breaking it up and adding it to the ones place, that you have to make sure that you add 10 ones to the ones place. You're not just adding a few, you're adding a whole 10. Okay, so this whole group of 10 is the same thing as this 10 right here. I just regrouped it, borrowed it from the tens place, regrouped it as ones, so that now I have more in the ones place. Now, does our visual picture model match our number model, our actual number? No, it doesn't match it anymore. So now we have to make this number match this. So how many tens do we have? We have 10, 20, 30. Okay, so we're going to cross out this 10 and we're going to write a 3 on top because we only have 3 tens now. And I don't have 5 ones over here. I had 5. I added 10 to that. So now 10 plus 5 equals 15. So I need to cross this 5 out, and on top of it, I'm going to write 15. Because I have changed 45 from 4 tens and 5 ones to being 3 tens and 15 ones so that I'm able to do some subtraction. Okay, now in the ones place we have 15. Do we have enough there to go ahead and take 7 out? Now we do have enough there. So I'm going to pick a different color so you can see that. And I'm going to just, on my model, cross out my 7 ones that I'm taking away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just cross them out. When I cross them out like that, it's showing that I'm subtracting them. And now we're going to count how many are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 ones left, so I can write an 8 in the ones place. Then we go to the tens place. We have 3 tens, and we're going to take away 1 10. So I can cross out a 10 here. I can't cross out the one that's already crossed out because that one was regrouped and it's already gone. So I have to cross out another one. So 3 minus 1 equals 2. There's only 2 tens left. Okay. Another little saying that can help you decide if you need to do regrouping or not is we like to say if there's more on the floor, then go next door and get 10 more. So in this particular, this is the top. This is the floor, okay, and the number. And there's a 5 on the top and a 7 on the bottom. So there is more on the floor, so we needed to go next door. Oops. next door would be in the tens place, and that's why we had to go ahead and regroup there. Now, if there's not more on the floor, if this number on the bottom was smaller than 5, then we could have just gone ahead and done our subtraction and we wouldn't have had to do any of this regrouping. So you only need to regroup if you have more on the floor, more underneath than you have on top to change the number so that you can do the subtraction. All right, very quickly, I'm going to show you really quickly how to do a 3-digit subtraction problem. We're going to do it the exact same way, so I'm just going to go through the steps very quickly because I think most of your practice this week is with 3 digits, but it's going to be the exact same thing except for you might have more on the bottom of the tens place. You might have to borrow from the hundreds place as well as the tens place, so let's find out. So we're going to go back and start with the same colors I started last time. We're going to do cubes to work this out. But I already noticed that somehow it took off some of my problems. So it says Tony has 528 Pokemon cards and 275 baseball cards. How many more Pokemon cards does he, and I'm going to go ahead and add to this problem here, does he have than baseball cards is the question, okay? So how many more Pokemon cards does he have than baseball cards? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to circle our numbers. So our numbers that we have here to work with are 528 and 275, okay? Then we're going to underline our questions. Our question is how many more Pokemon cards does he have than baseball cards? So that's what we're ultimately trying to find out. Then I need to box some important information. I need to make sure I remember that 528 is the Pokemon cards and 275 is the baseball cards. And that's important because we're trying to find out how many more he has, and we have to make sure we know which number goes with Pokemon cards and which one goes with baseball cards. All right, so now that we've looked at that, we've evaluated it, we can see that we need to do subtraction because it says how many more here. So this is keywords that show subtraction. So now I'm going to set the problem up. The problem's going to say 528 minus 275, and I put 528 on the top of the problem because it is the larger number and this is a subtraction problem. So if I'm doing a subtraction problem, I'm going to put the larger number on top or first. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and model this top number. Okay. The model is going to have 500s, which are going to be larger squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my 500s, 100, 200, 300, 400, 5. Then I need 2 10s, which I'm just going to make 2 little sticks here. 2 10s, 10, 20. Then I need 8 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember, I try to do them in groups of 5. It just makes it easier when I'm looking at my picture. I can see groups of 5 and count them easily. All right, now we're going to do some subtraction. So I'm going to change my color to red so we can start doing the subtraction with the regrouping. We're going to start here in the ones place like we always do. I have 8 on the top and I'm going to take 5 away. So I have 8 here. Can I take 5 away right now the way that it is? I can, because do I have more on the floor down here? No, this number is smaller than 8. So I do not have more on the floor. So I can go ahead and I can solve the problem. So all I need to do is subtract 5, and I know that I put them in groups of 5, so there's 5 right there. So how many do we have left? If we have 8 and we take 5 of them away, how many am I going to have left? We're going to have only 3 left, okay? All right, then we go to the tens place. We have 2 10s here, but we need to take 7 away. Can we take 7 out of the tens place right now? We cannot. So this time we have to regroup in the hundreds place. How many groups of 10 does it take to make one of these hundreds? It takes 10. 10 tens equals 100. So this time I'm going to regroup 100. I'm going to block out 100 and I'm going to break it apart into 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I just took this 10 and I broke it up. I had more on the floor here, so I had to go next door to the hundreds place, okay? And I have 10 tens now. Now can we take 7 out of this group? We can take 7 out, okay? So all I need to do, and I'm going to go ahead and change color so you can see it, I'm going to mark out 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And the way I didn't have to start there, I could have started on top, but my brain just automatically breaks that 7 into a 5 and a 2, so I know there's 5 here and 2. Just thought it would be easier because now I can look very clearly and look up here and see, look, how many tens are left? I have 5 tens left, so I'm going to put 5 here in the ones place. Oh, but you know what? I forgot to do something. What did we forget to do to these two numbers? Do we still have 2 tens over here? No. Do we still have 500s? No. So I'm going to erase that because I should not have done that subtraction yet. Okay, oops. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo it this way. I should not have started subtracting yet, because before you start subtracting, and I'm kind of glad I did that, because now you can see we really have to change this number to make sure our number matches this. So I'm going to go back to the red because that's what I was using, and we need to mark out. We don't have, oops, we don't have 2 anymore. We have 12 because we added 10 plus 2, that's 12, and we don't have 500s anymore. We only have 4. Okay, so now we have 400s and 12 tens, and we don't have to mess with the ones because the ones is already done. Okay, all right, now I can do the subtraction. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I took away 7 tens. All right, 12 tens minus 7 tens equals how many tens are left? Just 5, okay? And then we go to the hundreds place. We have 400s, and we need to take 2 of those away. So I can go ahead and cross out the 2 that aren't crossed out already. Remember, this one was regrouped, so that one's gone. Crossing these 2 out, so how many hundreds are left after we take away those 2? We have 2. So 528 minus 275 equals 253, which means Tony has 253 more Pokemon cards than he has baseball cards, okay? So there's going to be a link to this whiteboard underneath the video for you to also get to and see, okay? If you have any questions, please just reach out to your teachers. One of your assignments this week is just doing the regrouping like we did on the first page at the very beginning. So this right here. So one of your assignments is just practicing this. And then the rest of your assignments, I believe, are all some subtraction problems with regrouping. If you have any questions, reach out to your teachers. And again, I apologize for the first link having no audio with it. Hopefully this one will work. Thanks.